Welcome back to the Long and Thick podcast, where we help you navigate the noise and cut through the bullshit in the health and wellness space. I am joined by my fantastic co-host, Mr. Ronald Grantorius III. How the hell are we doing?
I'm fucking living the dream. Got some fresh pick-me-up beans.
Love it.
Courtesy of Creme. Crema, thank you. I have something for us.
You have something for us. What do you got?
A little surprise that I just concocted in my mind in the last 10 seconds. I would like you to share both your highlight and low from the last week. Start with the low.
The low from the last week? Well, if we're talking... it would be a week, 2 weeks gone now then. So the low of the week would probably be not getting to be outside more because we had really nice weather.
True.
Really nice weather. And in saying that, lets me be very thankful and reflective that that is the low point because there really wasn't other ones to speak of, which is great. Awesome. Another low point probably would be because it's been super rainy today. There's a ton of unsightly dog paw prints on a wood floor that I will have to clean. Only so much you can be done about that to stop it when it's happening. So That's a low point. Look now like son of a bitch, that's ugly. But yeah. What can you do? The puppies have to go outside.
That's true.
The highlight played a really cool show on Wednesday.
Sick.
It was a fundraiser show. It was 3 bands, sold out show at a venue here called Dark Matter. It was our third show as the outfit that we play in. It's a band called Die Trying. It's hardcore, but yeah, it was a really, really lively show. So that was pretty sick.
Fuck yeah. I feel like you've been playing semi-consistently ever since like the summer show?
Yeah. So we did a Die Trying show last summer in June. And then we did the Strength show with a different band, Heavy Hands, that I put together. And then we did 2 shows in the last week with Die Trying, which was kind of crazy to think about.
Any other things on like the docket music-wise?
Not currently, no.
Okay.
But
sick.
What about you? Highs and lows?
Low would be past week. Really just like did not have good time to train well, which all things considered is, like you said, a pretty chill low. Like I still did stuff here like after hours and whatever. And the highlight, I would say is probably the revitalizing of my Japanese practice. I feel like there's some stuff that clicked like back of mind. I came across a couple of random reels that were like, one of the biggest issues that I've had in my studies is really grasping like the sentence and like thought structure, because I'm such a cognitively driven person. For me to like make sense of how I'm trying to articulate things in another language is usually not this tricky. And so it was like a big barrier for me, but I saw a random reel that was like, here's your like template. Here's how I want you to think about saying a sentence, how it starts, how it ends, plug and play where applicable. And at least having that to just like start practicing again and, you know, redoing some of that stuff and reviewing things that I had gotten a little rusty with, just felt really good. And it just reminded me how important things like that are to keep your brain sharp, and like train your mind and your mental aptitude as opposed to just physically. So that's definitely feels like a big win.
So, that's huge. I love that.
Hell yeah.
Well, getting into it, we're have ourselves a little 3-piece combo, like you called it, a 3-piece wonder meal, maybe a little extra dipping sauce here with some formalities around the current world in training and fitness. So some of it will be application, some of it will just be the macro level view of where we're currently at, where we're going as a fitness-based culture. So with that, it's something that we've touched on multiple times, but we're doing a little bit of a deeper dive now. Walk us through functional training, what it is, any benefits, but also the problems therein.
Yeah. So we'll start off with some of the positives. I think the idea that people latch onto around functional training is very much so positive, much like we just talked about in our last episode, like HIIT classes and high rocks and other things. Like, we don't want to major in the minor. So if this is the thing that gets somebody feeling excited and empowered to like embrace their physicality, and for whatever reason enables them to think that they're doing something like really positive for themselves based on the title alone, great. The tricky part for me is that it becomes more divisive and confusing long-term, and the net that gets cast is fairly wide, and the people who get pulled into it, I think, are pretty small. And so I don't love, outside of clear distinctions that should be made within training, like adding unnecessary nuance to things that really doesn't belong there. Because what is the difference between a bench press being functional versus non-functional? Mm-hmm. Like, and no one is asking the question to the person who's like selling the functional training course. Like, you're just trusting that this person knows and has done stuff, and you see testimonies and whatever other things that are marketed to you. Like, yeah, I feel so much better. My back pain, went away after this like functional training thing that I did. It probably would have gone away if you did anything.
Any sort of training and strength building in that area, for sure.
Like across the board. And so thinking that there's like a magic bullet within making it functional is just like, it really is confusing. Where do you fall on like the side of if you have a client come in and they're like, yeah, can we do some like functional stuff? Is it like a time when you would be like, listen, fucko, like everything's
exactly how I'd say it, actually.
Right.
Like, you motherfucker.
Get the fuck out.
Right.
You're fired.
So yeah, it is tough, because that is the crux of everything in fitness, is attaching buzzwords to things that don't actually matter. Or, I mean, the one that plagues me in every conversation that I'm in that I have to just wade through every single day is like toning.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we have found ways of having these frizzy or frilly words that make it seem more important than it actually is. Mm-hmm. And any sort of strength application, or you being able to express more physical ability, that is functional at the end of the day.
Correct.
The problem, much to what you were saying, is when you start adding more nuance, you're going in the wrong direction. Mm-hmm. Can you invariably make someone stronger through really oddly specific exercises? Yes, no matter what. But a lot of the functional training practitioners are using it as a way of, do this because it agrees with the body, stay away from these dangerous things like deadlifts and squats, and like, you don't need those.
Right.
So no exercise is inherently dangerous.
Correct.
Your application or your ignorance to it is what makes it dangerous.
Right.
So a deadlift is far more functional than some weird axial thing that you're going to do to mimic it, but without the likelihood of injury. And then also, well, you don't have to worry about constantly getting stronger. Well, you damn well should.
Right.
You're giving yourself a really low ceiling, and that is shooting yourself in the foot. It's stopping your race before it even began by limiting yourself to some framework that stops you progressing.
Right.
But somehow you have this crazy scientific leg up, this way of cheating the system to get all of the health and strength benefits without actually getting truly healthier or stronger, while doing some asinine, overly nuanced movements, saying that you're functionally training. Whereas, sure, you might not have to barbell squat if you're squeamish toward that, or deadlift, but you can still mimic those movements. Like, you need to be able to hip hinge. You need to be able to squat down. You need to be able to pick something up. You need to have, shrugging capabilities. You need to have lunging capabilities. So making these things hyper specific is only doing damage.
Right.
You're not an athlete. You don't need hyper specific things for a particular competitive skill set. You just need to be comprehensively stronger across the board, and look at large movement patterns, large muscle groups, nothing hyper nuanced and crazy axes and planes of motion. That should be anyone's red flag. Is someone's like, this is this crazy specific thing that's going to change everything. That's not how the world works.
Right.
There's very few markets and pursuits in life that need something so uniquely specific to break the whole game open.
Agreed.
So
yeah, I think one question that came to mind, which I'll give you in a second, is kicking around in my head, but something that I find myself often educating clients, patients around, especially when we're in the gym, is that there is nothing you can do to your body in complete individualism. To do a bicep curl, you're technically using like all of you. You can't accomplish a bicep curl with zero core recruitment, zero neck recruitment, zero extensor in your left pinky. Like everything turns on to some degree, whether an EMG,
including an antagonist tricep as well to balance the whole thing.
Right. No motion exists as just, you might feel it in one place the most. That is the point. And there is a good way to tactfully guide somebody into experiencing their body in a way that is very unbalanced purposefully, so that they're feeling just their rear delt, just this thing. But it doesn't mean that's the only thing working. And so whatever movements you're doing, there is function in them, because your body can't accomplish a movement task without incorporating the body or the ground or some other type of leverage fulcrum mechanic. So get out of your own way there. What are like a handful of things that come to mind when someone says that? For me, first thing I see is like animal flow in fucking jungle etched print. And then people doing like posted up kick throughs, like that's functional.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some stuff that is proper fitness adjacent, like certain kettlebell things, but there's also, I've seen a ton of crazy bespoke equipment being used for really strange patterns of motion and really odd, almost like mutated version of like a Turkish getup, like things that are just they're convoluted for the sake of being convoluted.
Sure.
So
standing on a Bosu ball with a fucking book on your head and like doing things that are like,
there's been a couple viral things of people just doing crazy undulating, gyrating band work. And it's just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? So yeah, that would be what I've seen the most of, is almost trying to juxtapose some lifting, some yoga, and it's fine. All of those things have merit on their own. A combination therein is not necessarily uniquely bad, but they're doing it with the express understanding that you don't necessarily have to get stronger or endanger yourself in the pursuit of strength.
Right.
Which is crazy. So if you're listening to this and you're like, well, what's the point of getting truly strong if I can just do this? That is what's going to hold you back. That is the same exact argument of, well, I'm not trying to get bigger, I'm just trying to get toned. Or I'm not trying to get stronger, I'm just trying to get toned. You have to get stronger to have any meaningful muscle development that you can then see once you lose body fat. So
the language has duped us, and we don't want you to fall into that place. So if that's your lily pad to launch from, love it, but try not to stay fixated on any type of fitness craze based thing that is like touting that it is superior because some Russian guy in a basement long ago, we finally uncovered the files. Like, the person who gets the YouTube ad that is like, oh, see, this found me, like my awakening. It's like, you might be a little gullible. So like, let's rein it in a little bit.
Yeah, just get stronger, be conservative, move the needle tiny bits every week, and that's all you need. You don't need something. It's very
functional.
Yeah, and that truly, getting stronger comprehensively makes you functionally better.
Correct.
End of story.
Love it.
Now, because that adds its own little neuroses and analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis, all these extra options, is the world of fitness making us more anxious?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. There is, we love simplicity on this show. Like, we love to circle back to reducing down, simplifying, getting to the core roots and tenets of things. And so getting lost in the sauce is so non-applicable to 99.9% of the population, that like the bar is already so low of what the physical guidelines are for people to meet in terms of just daily walks and movement and things like that, that to think that this is applicable to you, these extreme things, is only hurting. I am a huge proponent of tracking, as are you. And I know firsthand, like when I first got a Whoop, it fucked me up because I would undertrain on days where it told me I was red and like not good, even though I may have felt pretty fresh. And vice versa, felt like a bag of dicks when it was like, you're ready to go, dude.
Yeah, you're fully recovered.
And so
you're
like
a human raised under the bars.
Yes, exactly. And so, you know, we lose touch with ourself in the process. There's a lot of these things that parallel to the episode we just did. And the idea of like not using music while you lift comes to mind, and tapping into like, what are you experiencing while you're training? Like I think so much of the fruit of training in any way, shape, or form is getting people connected with themselves, with their body, and understanding that there is no separation between the mind and body. And that when you impact the body, you're impacting the mind and vice versa. And so, you know, how can you be an alchemist and sort of tweak those things in your favor and just experience them, see what makes it better, see what makes it worse. And the other piece that comes to mind is the justification people have to step back from like improving because of the hyperfixation on like low hanging fruit, right? Like you still should show up when you feel a little bit like shit, even if you're didn't PR and whatever. Like your consistency and your small inputs stacking up are going to outpace anything else than you're just big.
Intermittent perfection. That's very scattered.
Yeah. I think the other piece that's really a bummer is that the more that we learn about different, biomarkers, ApoE and these other things, and your LDL, and some people are like, oh, just suck down butter smoothies, and I only eat red meat and raw milk and blah, blah, blah. There is just this never ending web of options that you have that make it feel like you need to be on this one path of perfection. And if you don't, you're like totally fucking dropping the ball when that could not be farther from the truth.
Sure. Your body and your mind is very adaptable. As long as you have some sort of fresh input that's for your benefit, you will move in a good direction and not have to worry about making everything perfect, everything fully balanced. It's impossible to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, the amount of options that are thrown at you on a hour by hour basis, targeted ads, everyone's got something to sell. And yeah, it sucks. I feel for anybody getting into fitness now or wanting to take charge of their health, because it is a cacophony of bullshit out there. And I get questions sent to me all the time, friends, family, just acquaintances on the internet. They're like, I have seen 4 different things that all say the other one's wrong. Where do I even go from here? And that's all the messaging is anymore, is screaming it loud enough to make something else look not good.
Correct.
To then make your whatever you're selling seem attractive.
Even functional training. I mean, yeah. And like we're picking it apart because people who are listening are probably well-versed in this world. But again, that's why we make the point to say, like, if you're starting and that's your entryway and whatever, like, don't get lost on the hyperfixation. This is extra applicable to what we're talking about now, because the more narrowed you get, even when I think about, earlier this year, I sort of hashed out a new program. I've said this many times. I'll say it many more times, that I am not like wavering from, right, for the duration of the year. And in doing that, I felt myself for sure experience anxiety. Like, how do you hit everything? How can I properly train like wrist extension and not have a fucking 45-hour appointment at the gym every time I go in, thinking about like every little nuanced piece that I want to hit in a certain way and blah, blah, blah. And you really just don't need to do that.
Right. It has to be phasic. If you want to continue the entire year with that, then the following year you can fill in the gaps, and you're going to be no worse for the wear for it.
Exactly.
Because like you just pointed out a bit ago, is that the entire body communicates.
Right.
So if you make larger pieces stronger together, the smaller pieces will also benefit from it. And then when you do the broad strokes, then you can change your focus in a reasonable time frame once you've kind of extracted the maximum amount of potential you can get out of that particular program. And then you shift it over. And I think that's a good place to be, is just having the patience. And I think some of that anxiety comes from, am I doing enough? Am I switching enough? That old dumb adage of like, am I confusing my body enough? Your body doesn't like confusion. Your body likes stability and consistency. It's a dumb computer that you keep programming with the same inputs over and over and over again. It starts to get better at it. But if you keep throwing different things at it, it's never going to move in any direction. It's tectonic in nature. It's so slow. You can get great progress, like you said, when you stack it over a good course of time. But if you say, hey, I want you to do exactly this one day, then it's complete opposite the next day. And then day 3 is again completely opposite. Those things can work together if you do that same pattern for a long period of time. But if you're constantly throwing something new at it, you're going nowhere. But in a way that can help the mind instead of pulling it into quicksand, we have talked about it a little bit, both with Brandon Lee as well as our own conversations. But talk to me about strength training as it applies to helping the mind. Maybe not outright as a proxy for therapy, but having therapeutic effects.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, anybody who has gone through a intense workout usually feels just really good after, right? You get that sort of endorphin kick, blood is moving, heart rate's picked up, all the things are just like ticking along, especially when you haven't like, pushed yourself to the barfing point. There is a high, right? Like akin to the runner's high, all those types of things that you experience post exercise, and the chemical side of things that are being released is really fabulous, but it is not the same or as profound as people like to make it out to be. There are for sure clear like studies showing reductions in depression and anxiety markers, which is funny that we're, paralleling this to what we just said about fitness making us more anxious. But the key piece to all of this is that it's under the lens of simplicity and consistency and just like enjoying the process. And so, I mean, the folks who think that every time that they want to lash out that they need to just like go lift heavy, I'm glad that you're stepping into that space instead of like punching your spouse in the mouth or, headbutting the wall. But
if it's recurring, a larger problem is afoot. And if you're having to kind of always lean on exercise to have any semblance of normalcy, then that's also a sign of a bigger issue that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
We've all had to get the demons out, but I mean,
for sure. Yeah. And do you feel the difference between shitty weather weeks, a lot of life demand things where your training may not have been what you wished it was in a week, like mentally, emotionally, from not having been able to exercise?
Oh, sure.
Like you get, I call them like energy jitters. It feels like I have this like restlessness that like, and things start to ache. Like there's just this oddity in my body that is like, yo, like you got to do something, like stoke the flame a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's a testament to the specificity of the human body. A body in motion wants to stay in motion, but it's also very binary. And that's what people don't really understand. It's not only very binary, it's incredibly quick to change direction. And I know that kind of contradicts and laughs in the face of what I just said. Your body's a very slow thing. Your body is very slow to adapt. It is incredibly quick to unadapt.
Right.
And if you have a really good streak of movement and that's what your body's conditioned to, your body wants homeostasis and efficiency always. So your muscle is metabolically inefficient. Holding on to it for no use, your body's like kicked to the curb, gone. So, and that's where those jitters and those crackinesses and like those little sore oddities, like, oh,
why is this aching all of a sudden?
Right.
Yeah.
So that is why, is because when we build muscle, we're not getting that permanently. We're honestly releasing that for a couple days until your body's like, are you sure you've earned this? Until you like distract it again, like here's some more, like, oh, we'll kick it down the road. But if you're not using it, you will lose it. And it happens far quicker than people realize. That shouldn't scare anybody. It's just the actual truth. That's why you want to stay consistent.
Right.
Because albeit your body is very slow to give you those abilities, it will continue to give them if you continue to ask for them the right way. But if you stop dead, your body's like, you don't get that anymore. Yeah. Sorry. So it's kind of like a Sisyphus level climb in a way. It sounds a little grim. It is. Sounds like you're stuck in purgatory, but it's such a better outcome and eventuality than just letting your body turn into just bullshit and human raisin, empty husk of a human because you don't do anything.
Right.
And then people complain like, oh, I started working out and it felt worse. It's like, well, we just talked about me getting shin splints starting running, which I did not listen to my own tenets when it comes to easing into something. And I went way too hard, way too fast and blew my shit out.
And then you course correct. Right. And then that's it.
Yeah.
It's not a loss. You can't.
And then that should not make you anxious.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. The simplicity of it like gets you to hone back into that. All right. I just have to keep doing this thing. Like, and enjoy the process. You're in it for the long haul.
You should always be in it for the long haul, no matter what you do. Like nothing is going to come quickly. And if you do gain it quickly, you'll lose it just as fast. So
this applies to relationships, your finances, like your work ethic, all those things, right? Like, so, that's our 3-piece wonder meal.
Yeah. A little finger looking good kind of thing.
That's right.
Yeah. And in summary, again, functional training, does it have a function? If you're getting stronger, sure. Is the direction that is being sold in a good one for you? Probably not. Is fitness making us more anxious on a public internet level? Probably absolutely.
Right.
It's just leaving us in the quicksand and confused, and it's capitalizing on that. So you buy something in your confusion, and if that doesn't work, they'll sell you the next thing, and people are making money from somewhere. And then strength, we have to underscore this. It is not a replacement for therapy.
Correct.
However, like you said, there's plenty of data to show that it has better quelling depressive effects as well as just overall mental well-being, 50% more than even pharmaceutical tests in clinical trials. Right. So that should be enough for you. If you want to feel better and in your own skin and in your brain, start working out because
it will help.
Correct. The effects of it are palpable, and we are testaments to that ourselves because we wouldn't want it any other way. We would be terrible people if we didn't have exercise in our life.
Agreed.
So on that note, another one, a long and thick.
That's right. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.